There's 6 layers of grit. If you go out and actually start in it, what we did is we started to notice that in training up flow was remarkably easy to train, but people would wobble with some of these internal skills, grit being one of them. And in researching grit, so most people know about like perseverance, right? This is like, I got
Is
kick
this
me in the
level one of
teeth.
the 6 levels?
Level one, yeah.
Yep.
Perseverance is like, and that's what most people think of as grit.
Yep.
So the next level is thought control. You've got to control what's going on in your brain. Also, it doesn't matter how perseverant you are in the world if you can't get a handle on what's going on in here. And they're different skill sets. They have to be trained differently. Eventually, they come
Yeah.
together, but they're trainable. In the front end, you've got to train them differently. Then there's the grit to be your best when you're at your worst. That's essentially what they train Navy SEALs in Hell Week, right? That's the grit to be your best when you're at your worst. And it's a different set of skills. Then the grit to train up your weaknesses, right? We all have weak links in our armor. That's a different set of skills because weaknesses are specifically hard to train, right? That even if you're trying to be gritty, then there's all kinds of the grit to confront fear and start
Yep.
really negotiating with fear because fear, as you know, it's a fantastic tool once you have the fortitude to really deal with it. But if you haven't developed that fortitude yet, you try to like go at risk, go at fear, it
Yeah.
can crush a lot of people, right? This is why you
But once you
wait.
build here's what I've learned. Once you build a relationship with fear, it's a great drinking buddy. Because
Oh,
I actually,
it's the greatest
uh,
it's the greatest gift our biology gives us because it tells
yes.
us where to go next. When
Yeah.
peak performers, right? Because
Yeah, so
again,
true.
I mean, one, I always tell this to people: peak performers um, love working with grit because it gives you that all this stuff, all these internal motivators, all these things we're talking about. What's the big frickin' deal? You get focus for free. Focus for free. When we're passionate, we're paying attention automatically. When you're
Yep.
curious, paying attention automatically. When you have autonomy, paying attention, right? Fear, think about when something scares you, it gets all of your attention and you don't even have to work one iota for it. So I always explain to people when I write a book, there are always 3 challenges. There's the communication challenge. I got an idea, I got to communicate it with you. That's the first challenge. Second challenge is the style challenge. I want to make it's art for me. So I want to get the craft right. That's the second challenge. And then I always create a book challenge. Sometimes it's, can I write 2 books in a year or 3 books in a year? Because those are really hard challenges. With Bold, which is a business book I wrote, challenge was really simple. Could I write a business book
Fuck, I'd
that
be
didn't
happy to write one book in
suck?
a decade. Just to put it out there. So you can brag all you like.
Yeah, I don't know what to say to that.
Well, yeah,
You
you should
too
know
could
because
write.
you got a
I mean,
great you got a great
no,
training
yeah,
program called Flow
yeah, I got a
Riders.
great,
That's what you should
yeah,
be saying.
and I got to tell you, I mean, so here's the thing that was explained to me when I was in grad school. I got to study under a guy, Steven Dixon is his name, and he is in English, maybe in other languages, but in English at the time, the most published author in the history of the world. So Chekhov held the record with some ridiculous 300 published works. And this guy, Steven Dixon, um, was up to like 600 and some published works when I was studying under him. I mean, it's just crazy. And I'm not talking about like, like his book Frog, which won the National Book Award in America. It's like this thick. It's huge. Like these are not even
Wow.
small books.
These aren't
And
articles. These are
yeah,
these are not ebooks.
so
These are like Bibles.
my point is, in grad school, I remember him talking to him once, and he said, somebody said, "How the hell have you done this?" He said, "It's easy. I edit a page a day and I write a page a day, and if you do that, you'll have a book a year for the rest of your life."
Fuck, page a day. Fuck, that just humbled me, didn't it? Okay.
Right? I mean, you 365 days in a year.
So true. What the fuck? Yeah, my book in a decade. It should be 10 books in a decade. All right. Well, you've just put me in my place. You've gone through the grit layers: perseverance, thought control, to be your best at your worst, to train up your weaknesses, control fear. What was number 6? I'm intrigued.
So the this is counterintuitive. So
Oh fuck.
really counterintuitive, but peak performers don't like to stop. One of the problems, if you get all your intrinsic motivators pointing in the same direction, right,
Yeah.
is there's a shitload of fuel in the fire, right? You're burning nitrous at that point, and you're all turbo boosted all the time. And as you know, peak performance requires recovery. You need not only 7 to 8 hours of sleep a night, but peak performers need active recovery protocols. So Epsom salt baths, saunas, walks in nature, restorative yoga, massages, foam rolling, take your pick, right? We know this list. It's the grit to recover is the 6th grit skill. It's because right? And it's not that, I mean, everybody knows about recovery skills and we talk about it, you hear it talked about, but it doesn't get put into play, which is why you have to train it as a grit skill, because it's freaking hard for peak performers. This is, by the way, when we do work with members of the special ops community, they like nobody's as guilty of this shit as they are. They cannot shut it down. They cannot shut it down. And you also see this a lot in C-suite executives. And the result is, entrepreneurs are the other category.
They fucking just drive it.
So if you have an active recovery protocol and regular access to flow, it is incredibly hard to burn out. There's a couple reasons that will cause it, but regular access to flow and an active recovery protocol is essentially a prophylactic against burnout, which is such a problem with entrepreneurs and with executives. So the grit to recover is really important.
There you have it, guys. Thanks for tuning in to Unstoppable with me, your host, Kerwin Rae. And please do not forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel where you get to see all of these interviews in the flesh. Share this podcast with your friends. I would love to hear what you guys think. Thanks for joining us.